Welcome back. We will be looking at each of the quality practices now. In your syllabus, in this chapter, in fact, what happens is that there are 6 quality practices that has been prescribed for you: Kaizen, TQM, JIT, Six Sigma, and target costing. And in fact, target costing is one of the subcomponents of Kaizen. So, what you have to understand is that you have to understand how each of these methods work, what are the unique characteristics of each of the methods, what kind of things stand out, uh, because we differentiate, right? But all of them are driving toward one objective, that is to improve quality. So actually, when you look at it, one thing that you have to understand is that all of them are proposing the same things, but the difference is that each of those, and that's where the name differences are a little, the name differences occur. Each of them have its own specialty focus. Each of them focuses on each thing, but around it, all of them are end of the day proposing, generally, when you look at it from an overview perspective, from a general standpoint, all of them are proposing the same thing, right? So the only the particular focuses are different. So one thing to note is that except Six Sigma, all of the other methods are actually from it's from Toyota. It's from Japan. It's from Toyota. The famous Toyota production systems, right? Taichi Ono and um, Ashidi Toyoda. I'm not sure if that's the correct name, but these are the pioneers of the Toyota production system, and they came up with all of these. So what I find is that the Japanese are quite disciplined. That to follow these approaches, there needs to be a lot of discipline. And unless you're disciplined and unless you have that very strong sense of commitment to quality, these to sustain this as long term practices can be challenging, which is what we see generally with the European and the Western civilization trying to adopt these methods. They haven't done it as well as the Japanese can. Not even some of the other Asian countries can do it as well as the Japanese. Okay, so on that note, we will be looking at each of these methods. The first one is Kaizen, or Kaizen costing. Kaizen, very straightforward word. It's a Japanese term for the philosophy of continuous improvement in performance via small incremental steps. Continuous improvement, so never ending improvement. You're always improving through small incremental steps. So you're not trying to make big changes, small changes incrementally. That's how you work. It's basically like, let's say, for example, you want to start a practice like reading. You don't read, you want to read. So Kaizen essentially means you read 5 minutes a day for 1 week, and then the next week you read maybe 6 7 minutes slowly, right? The third week you may be reading 10 days and 10 minutes, and you don't do it on a daily basis. You don't read 5 minutes today and then 10 tomorrow and then 15 the day after and then 20 the day after that. That's not how it works. First you get used to the 5 for a week, and then you get used to the 10 for a week, and then you get used to the 15 for a week or so it's small incremental steps. The incremental means that you stick to it for a while, and then you make the next step. So this is what Kaizen costing is. It is the continual examination and improvement of existing processes. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the characteristics. What happens in Kaizen is that first you start by setting a plan. You have a plan, and then you continuously improve the plans, and so that you can achieve long-term sustainable improvement. So you build the best plan you have to start with, then you work on that, and slowly you try to change that. You try to improve your plan. So if your estimated cost for a product is, you're planning to get it manufactured by 18, maybe you have a target saying, no, I want to get it done by 16. So you try to hit that 16 with time, with small incremental steps. You try to hit that target, and then once it reaches 16, are you happy? Do you stop? No, not really. You set a new target for yourself saying, okay, now my cost is 15.5. So there is that continuous improvement based um, cost reduction approach, a very resilient one. The focus is on eliminating waste, improving processes and systems, and improving productivity. So, how do you actually do this? How do you keep continuously improving? You eliminate waste at every possible point, you improve processes and systems, and you improve productivity. These are the three challenges, or these are the three metrics methods that are available if you're implementing Kaizen. It involves all areas of the business and employees in a Kaizen environment. Because of the nature of that, and because employees really need freedom if they are supposed to, continuously change things and improve things. So they often work in teams and are empowered to make changes. Rather than viewing employees as the source of high costs, Kaizen actually views the employees as a source of ideas on how to reduce cost. So essentially, a change of culture is required, and it allows the organization to respond quickly to change in the competitive environment because of your nature of continuous improvement and continuous change. Okay, so how do you actually implement Kaizen? Kaizen costing is the steps during the design. So we're going to talk about it from the perspective of a product that is being manufactured, right? That's what we are doing. So what will happen is, initially you have the design phase, and during this design phase you will set up something called a target cost for yourself. So the target cost is essentially the cost at which you want to get this done at. Whether you'll meet the target or not known as you start. So once the target cost is set, it is totaled to give the total target cost for the product. And that becomes the baseline for the first year of production. So you have a baseline total target cost, including the costs that are, overheads that are spent for selling, etc. So whatever attributable for the product, you take all of them. So then what you do is you aim to hit that target. What you're trying all the time is you keep looking at that process, you keep looking at the tools, keep looking at the components, and you try to see, how am I going to reduce the cost to the baseline cost or to the target cost, and you try to implement them one by one, small steps incrementally. um, and this is the process, and you keep doing this. Cost reduction targets are set on a regular basis, essentially, and variance analysis is carried out at the end of each period to compare the target cost reduction with the actual cost. So you keep tracking this, you keep calculating the variances, and you try to gather enough intelligence to get this done. One of the many ways to reduce costs is through the elimination of waste. And something that is quite contrasting between Kaizen and standard costing is, see, okay, here we go. So you can compare Kaizen with standard costing, because standard costing is not continuous improvement. Standard costing, or general budgeting, is you set up a plan for a year and then you go ahead with your implementation. You don't continuously try to improve. At the end of the year, you may try to do a variance analysis and see what happened. So this is how you can contrast. Standard costing is cost control, but Kaizen is cost reduction. Standard costing assumes current manufacturing conditions, but Kaizen doesn't work with that. Kaizen wants to improve the conditions, meet cost performance standards, but Kaizen achieve the cost reduction targets. Furthermore, standards are set annually or semi-annually, like I said, but cost reduction targets are set and applied at least on a monthly basis. Cost variance analysis involving standard costs and actual costs can be calculated. However, um, in Kaizen, it is implemented during the year to attain target profits or to reduce the gap between the target profit and estimated profit. Standard costing, you can investigate and respond when the standards are not met. So you kind of wait until your standard, until the budget period, the end of it. So if you have plan, or if your standard costing sheet is for, let's say, 1 year, you have to wait until the end of year to see that your standards were met or not, and to take any corrective actions. However, with Kaizen, not really. Cost variance involving target Kaizen costs and actual costs reduction amounts, you can calculate variances, and you can investigate and respond when target Kaizen amounts are not attained, because of the real time nature of how Kaizen actually works. So this is Kaizen. Now, one thing that I want to take your attention to is that within the process, or within the steps of implementing target costing, You heard this word, target cost, that you start by setting up a target cost for each production function during the design phase, because you want to see a continuous improvement approach. So if you keep a target cost, then you're continuously trying whatever you can to do and bring the cost down to this level. So it's an effort. Um, so we need to understand how target costing works. It's actually very straightforward, but we need to understand that, and that is what we will be looking at next. Thank you and good luck.